Wednesday, December the 5th, 2018 is anachronism number 2804 that I posted, and I'm rereading it, re-recording it, because the recording that I made, I can't understand a word I'm saying. I think that was the camera was right next to the fan. Hopefully this will be much more articulate. It's a longer poem. It's called I'm Not Alone, and it is a Stephen Colbert sticker poem, number 4. I did several of these, and let me just explain. There's an asterisk, and I'm going to read the bottom, which explains this book. The title of this poem is from a page from Stephen Colbert's I Am America and So Can You, which has a set of stickers, each with a phrase which he recommends using to show that you are the man in charge, or that you got it all under control. I assume to be used especially when the man reader actually has no clue or simply isn't interested or even paying attention. So the phrase is, I'm not alone. Stephen Colbert sticker poem number 4. Worldwide fervent belief in conspiracy theories is at an all-time high, both in the magnitude of the population who adhere firmly to the veracity of one or more, but most radically in the number of such theories assumed 100% true on an individual level. I just made this fact up, to be honest, but it's only a rhetorical question. And because duh. Back at camp, we'd always know when it was time for the party to start. When the rebel forces were approaching, their transportation apparatus were always in stark contrast with those of ours. There's a rhyme and a reason for everything, as Shakespeare incessantly did not attempt to convince his contemporaries. This announcement was barked over the loudspeakers. The rebel forces are approaching. The rebel forces are approaching. We'd all quickly slipped into battle gear, donned our epic battle-appropriate makeup, and then we would dance for days on end. I really miss those days. Sure, there was slavery, but dancing through days and nights that moved as slowly and as deliciously as syrup slowly seeping down through the middle of a whopping stack of flapjacks, not to mention the otherworldly plunge into each disc of butter, one on top, one on bottom, and one's smashed between the center of each cake. Along with 1,000 flak jackets seen pulsating through a hallucinatory mist and contortions that could only have been locked within mirrors when normally only encounters at the county fair. Remember those? Yet were actually dozens of not variations of the ecstatic river slipping slowly through the party's glorious goo, but several dozen meatheads from my own platoon. The rest of the seemingly endless, ultra-hedonistic, wide-eyed party crew. They were the shit, those parties. Certainly enough to give anyone familiar pause when hearing the variations of hyperbolic adjectives used years hence to describe a night or two at Studio 54, for example. Those men swathed in camo and dripping with bayonets, but put today's attempts at weekends full of fireworks and sweat and the so-called slaves of the circuit to shame. Circuit parties? Lugubrious imitations of impossible to render minutiae of a memory of a sliver of time spent slathered and body slamming at those war gatherings of yore. Humph. Today's bodies, puffily jiggling with shame, no pounding here, and those bayonets, which by the bottom of the cake had found 1,000 new meanings, each one a vast epistemological distance from any war zone or deep governmental basement. Those good old days. They say it's interplanetary progeny, a proliferation of these disproportioned kids, something the spiritual journals call the homogenization of human-centric and other human-like species. Human-like. Ha! Many of these carry not an ounce of blood, no watery substance, and hearts. We're becoming a vein-free galaxy, they say. And this is a good thing. A culture devoid not only of the heroism and of hedonism, and the inevitability and completely impossible to describe intertwining of the knives and the long barrels of the era of bayonets, devoid of culture itself. Talking tubes incapable of speaking but one language, or of uttering a phrase that is neither selfish nor utterly empty. But this I can say without conviction. You can mark my words, as much as one or two even matter in a moment of time such as this. This dearth, this pointless talking tube, these pointless talking tubes, the homogenization, despite its funny-looking kids, I tell you, it is but a cover-up for the real story, a diversion from the plan already being implemented. The truth is out there, all right, for whatever it's worth, and we'll all come to know this plan intimately. And unless there's anyone in here who gets everything I'm trying to tell you, we'll all, each and every one of us, know all too late what atrocities this heinous plan entails. We'll know way too late, I tell you. Meaning, we will never know. But men, you should all stand with me on one thing for certain. Those were some damn fine parties back then. So fine that our wars always brought the enemies together. You remember, John? Surely I'm not alone here. You and I, we'd be royalty. Royalty, I tell you. It was war. It was life. We were the shit. You remember now? I know you do. Man, do I ever miss the war. Those visions, camaraderie only the jungle could ever offer, and by far the purest love any living member of the tribe has ever experienced, dancing. Dancing. The buzz of war, I tell ya. He clutches his heart like no tomorrow. I seriously miss the camo, the slow motion camo, the war and its men. I miss them all something fierce, like rear view windows, like all those ancient pyramids, objet d'art, like soft-boiled eggs, like birds, and, eggs. But more than all of those things combined, what I miss the most is those good old days.